Hi, this is Thor Rafferty with DexTrader.com. That's Dex, D-E-X, Trader.com. This is the second in series of setting up our basic strategy, just learning how to set up a strategy in NinjaTrader 8. You remember in the first video we created our charts, we added our basic indicators, we were working on the a chart of the Aussie dollar, Japanese yen. It could be any chart you want, basically the same thing. We've already added our DEX dynamic support and resistance, our DEX fast trend, and our DEX slow trend. We've already got those on. And so we're going to go back to building our strategy. We started one, and so we're going to add some things to it. So we're going to go to New, Strategy Builder, even though it's still, you still use New even though we're editing it. So now we're going to find our strategy, and we called it the DEX FOREX Strategy. Okay, so we're going to double click on that. Next. And come on. Oh, there we go. Next. And if you want a description, that's fine. There's our name, description, and so on. Click Next. We've already talked about these properties. Setting them up. We did that in the last video. We did not in a second instrument. We're not going to compare one instrument to another, one Forex pair to another Forex pair, or Forex pair to the Dow, or anything like that. You can do that. We've set our variables. We've already got those in. We talked about that at the last video. And we have created our strategy with 4 different parameters. Now, I've already gone in and done this to speed things up a little bit. So we're going to look at set 1. Now, as I told you in the first video, this is an incredibly powerful box. If all means and. If any means or. All right? So if all means and. That means that all of these statements have to be true before it takes an action. All these statements, both of these statements in this case, have to be true. In the first video, we added a cross where we had the fast trend crossing above the, I hope I didn't change that. Yeah, the DEX slow trend, okay? We'd already set that up. The fast trend crosses above the DEX slow trend. Now, and we were getting some results, but we want to add a second and statement. And in this case, what we want to do, we want to filter a little bit. We want our DEX slow trend to be less than the DEX dynamic support and resistance mean. Okay? So what does that mean? All right, what does that mean? Let's look at our chart a minute. Where's my chart? There it is. All right, let's look at our chart. What we're saying is, when we buy, we want to be in the area below the yellow mean line here, average line, middle line. All right, and we'll talk about selling in a minute, but basically we want to buy low and sell high. All right, so we've added this second statement: DEX slow trend, the close, the period, etc., is less than our DEX fast trend. And we want to do the same thing for our sell, but just the opposite. Here we have our statement that we built last time, that the DEX fast trend crosses below the DEX slow trend, meaning it's going down, and the DEX slow trend is greater than the mean line of the DEX dynamic support and resistance. All right, so again, if we look at our chart, when we sell, we want to be up in this range somewhere. We want to be selling high and then rebuying it low. Buy low, sell high, and buy it back low. That's basic trading 101. Okay, so we've added that statement. Now, if all means that both of those statements have to be true before we get a signal. All right, and now I also added some things we want to do. I like to put a mark on the chart when it trade, more than just the arrow. I want to know where the trade is, or what level we entered it, approximately what level, and so on. So what I've done is we've added some new statements down here under do the following. And the first one is we want to draw a vertical line. Okay, so we go into under drawing, vertical line. Okay, make the color anything you want. I want it to be sort of a light color. I want it to be dotted. I don't want it to be, you know, overriding the other information on the chart. I want it very subdued. I want the width set to 1, so small. And what that will do is it'll put a vertical line at the point where on the chart where the point at the point where the signal comes across. Okay. I also want to put a horizontal line. That's even maybe more important because I want to know the level at about which we entered the trade. Now this is not exact, but it shows it. It'll print it on the chart. And so we're going to add that statement. And again, let's edit it. Sorry, I want to edit it. I don't want to add it. I've already added it. All right, so under drawing, and you can, there's a lot of stuff you can draw on your chart here. We want a horizontal line. I want it the same color, the light green. I want it dotted. I want the width 1. Oh, by the way, remember we set that tag, that third tag statement here in our previous. We do not want to do that here. Otherwise, you'll have horizontal and vertical lines all over your chart. So remember, we added a third set before. It was under miscellaneous. Current bar. Well, if we do that, it'll put every single horizontal line on there, and they'll be all over the place, and it'll be a mess. So we just want to remove that. We don't want a third statement there. Okay, just the 2 statements. Dotted, width 1. Now we have to tell it on the y-axis where we want it, and we just want it at the close of the candle where the signal occurred. So we go into price indicators, close, and no offset. We want it, right at the close. But if you want, high, low, median, middle of the bar, close is fine. You just want to mark here, okay? So we're going to do that. Click OK. So we've got our light green dotted bar, 1 wide, set at the point in the where it closes. Okay. Now we want to do the same thing for set 2, and this is where you can copy this and paste it on set 2, and then just change it. Maybe just change the color on it. Otherwise, I don't think you have to do anything else. So, all right. So what we've done is we've added a second statement here that not only does the price have to cross below, our fast trend has to cross below our slow trend. I'm sorry. First, our fast trend has to cross above our slow trend, and the slow trend has to be less than the DEX dynamic support and resistance median. Set 2, the DEX fast trend crosses below, this is our sell signal, this crosses below the DEX slow trend, and remember if all is and, DEX slow trend close is greater than the DEX dynamic support and resistance mean. And then we added a couple of vertical lines. Set 3 is just putting our diamonds, and set 4 we haven't made any changes to those, so everything's the same. So we're going to compile this, okay, and let it compile for a minute, and it'll tell us if we've made any mistakes. It's always a good idea to compile frequently because it'll tell you if you screwed up. Oh, that's loud. Sorry about that. Strategy generated successful. Okay, so we're good to go with our strategy. Now you can click next, and finish it, and it compiles it again. But I'm just going to move it aside for now because I want to go ahead and put it on our chart. Did I close the chart by mistake? What happened to my chart? I must have closed the chart by mistake. I'm sorry. So let's reopen the chart. Good review. New chart. Turn that down. And we're going to do the Aussie Japanese yen. I'm going to make it range 3 for our purposes. I'm just going to load 3 days. It's a little bit faster, and everything else is the same. Okay, so we've got our chart. We want to add our template that we created in one of the first videos. Our template, load, and our template was the DEX Forex template. Okay, that gives us our look that we want. And now we're going to add our strategy. All right, so we're going to right click on a blank spot on the chart, strategies, and we're going to select the DEX FOREX strategy. Double click on it. It puts it down here. And remember, we have to enable it. We have to tell it go. That's like the safety on a gun, because you know, if you had an order to make a trade, it would trade it. All right, so click OK, and it's giving us this warning that trades will be submitted to the brokerage without an alert. Okay, and this might take a minute. It's pretty fast. All right, so what do we got? All right, you can see that a condition occurred where we went long here. It put our vertical line on the chart, gave us a nice arrow, a little up arrow. It put the horizontal line at the close of the chart. It's a pretty nice signal. If we had gotten in, there it went, and that's money, folks. Let's see if we can make sure, see if we can find a short trade that occurred somewhere. I'm only seeing long trades. Oh, here we go. Here's a short trade. Okay, and again, it gave us this pinkish color cross. The trade occurred here. It tested resistance one more time and then just fell off the table. So, you know, we're seeing some valid trades. Our markers are working. Our diamonds are telling us that it's forming new high, new high, new high, new high. Hitting a lot of resistance up here, tested it one more time, and then there it went. And it formed some new lows down here. Okay, it gave us a long signal here, but it was not a very strong long signal. You might have been able to get into that. You probably would have been stopped out, but you know, oops, a more valid long signal occurred here, and it took it up right up to resistance, and so on. So just a basic strategy to get you in and out of some trades. So in the next video, we'll actually start making a trade based on this. Or at least I'll show you how to trade. I don't know if we're not going to trade it live, but that'll be in the next video. So this is Thor Rafferty with DEXsignals.com, and this is our video number 2 on how to set up a simple strategy. Thanks for being with us, and good trading.